The president is coming here, as you said, for his first working visit. Well, it's really to cement our relations with this beautiful country, the Kingdom of Belgium, and of course with the European Union. You see Jose Rizal in our background, and I want to start with that for the sort of basis and the linkage, because Jose Rizal was here in Belgium. He published, or his Fili Pusterismo was published in Belgium, and therefore in Ghent in particular, and the shared values of reforms and democracy and justice for citizens have always been part of our democratic tradition. And Jose Rizal, I think it started. I think he's the first OFW, in fact, in this part of the world, and therefore those values, which became the basis of our very good relations with Belgium and the European Union, have strengthened those relations. We're celebrating, and no, not 100, but 50 years of our relations with the European Union, and with Belgium. I think we're on our 63rd year, and because of the shared values, love of freedom, fighting for democracy, for justice, these relations have grown steadily over the years, and the president is coming to cement those relations. It's very important that the president meets his counterparts at the European Union and also with Belgium. His Majesty the King of Belgium and the Prime Minister, of course, of Belgium. And of course, necessarily, there are some 10,000 Filipinos in Belgium. Not all of them will be here, but I can assure you we will fill up the cathedral where he's going to meet them. And therefore, we look at this visit as really a visit to our friends in the continent, in the European Union. Of course, there are 28 member states, and they're all united in the European Union construction that they have worked over the year. So yes, to cement the relationship, to recall the common values, and based on these values to build upon for increased trade, increased investment, maybe increased exchange of scholars and researchers, and of course to talk about what the Filipinos here. They've been here for over 40 years, pioneers, and about their role, how they can continue to contribute to, of course, for the welfare of their families back home. 50 years ago, we established diplomatic relations with the then European Commission, okay? But as you know, these countries have built up their union over the years, and in Lisbon, the so-called Lisbon Treaty, they further had more integration in their political life, economic life, and they thought that it's best that in the relationship with countries there is a partnership and cooperation agreement. It's a framework agreement which they want with countries, third countries other than their members. And the Philippines was the first country after the Lisbon Agreement which entered into the partnership cooperation agreement. Very broad. It's a framework. The implementation of whatever is in there will have to be done through specific agreements, but it's covering trade, migration, security, the whole gamut of interstate and interpeople relationship. It's an executive agreement, and therefore we need the conformance or conformity of all the major agencies, which in the end will implement the various aspects of the agreement. So it's just to make sure that we have this framework where we can all, proceed to deepen the relationship. It's anchored on promotion of course, of more benefits to both parties, and also promotion of human rights, promotion of democracy. This is the second time that the president will meet with both President Barroso of the European Commission and President Van Rompuy of the Council, because the first time they met was in Vientiane in 2012, I think, when precisely the partnership cooperation agreement between the European Union and the Philippines was signed by then, but not then, but Secretary Del Rosario and the High Representative, Madam Ashton. So this meeting is meant to take stock of the relationship. I just want to emphasize, for example, that the EU member states are our biggest investors in terms of stock of foreign direct investment in the Philippines. They're also one of our top four, sometimes it's third, sometimes fourth, together trading partner. They are also among our biggest official development cooperation partners. And in here, I have to emphasize or underline the very spontaneous, heartwarming support and contribution for the relief, rehabilitation, and even for reconstruction that the European Union as European Union, the individual member states, and of course the peoples of the EU, so much coming out spontaneously, giving assistance to the victims of Typhoon Haiyan. So on the trade and investment side of things, yes, we have very good relationship, but the president is here to encourage more investments in the Philippines. There will be a public-private partnership conference which the president will attend, and right now I think we're overbooked with 80 firms, not only from Belgium and Luxembourg, but all over Europe to attend this conference. We will encourage our European friends, the businessmen, to take a look at all these major infrastructural needs that we have for development. The other ones, well, this is really essentially to thank the European Commission for the confidence they have had in lifting the significant air safety concerns for PAL, Philippine Airlines, and Cebu Pacific last year. So that's great. And then, of course, the plight of our seafarers. We have very good compliance, substantive compliance thus far, to make sure that we conform. We are the third major seafaring nation of the world, and for the EU, we have some 80,000 of our seafarers, and here all that we are both state parties. The EU and its member states and the Philippines are state parties to the so-called STCW, Seafarers Training Convention under the IMO. And under this regime, they, all countries, including us, of course, want to make sure that there is compliance with this very important convention. And so far, so good. I think we can reassure them, and I think the President will reassure the European Commission that indeed we will continue to be complying with all this. This is very important that among the other matters that our President, I'm sure, will reassure the European Union through the European Commission in particular and the Council is this whole adherence and resolve of the Philippines to adhere to all the principles that are, that they want to make sure that there is no unregulated, unreported. There's one more U. Oh, no, illegal. IUUF, illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing, which is a common concern not only of the EU, of course, we share that. I mean, we want them to comply as well, but again, this will be a great opportunity with no less than the President himself assuring our EU friends and all the stakeholders here in their member states that we will make sure that there is full compliance, substantive compliance with these principles, the regulation on IUUF. And okay, moving on to our Belgian friends. First of all, I'd like to, I think, really fondly recall that then President Corazon Aquino was here in '89. Belgium, among others, countries of Europe, were among those who recognized the people power, peaceful revolution that we have. And so at that time, King, His Majesty King Benigno, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, yes, invited the President Aquino to come here. And His Majesty King Philippe is, of course, the nephew of King Benigno, and the current king of the Belgians, King Philippe, has been to the Philippines in '96. His father, His Majesty King Albert, was also in the Philippines in the '70s, and was in their system. They had the important economic missions of Belgium, to third countries, including the Philippines. And at that time, that visit resulted in, I think, the LRT. Yes. Is, one of our first association with Belgium is the LRT. So there are these close ties. There's 150 years of the CICM in the Philippines. They are into education and religious education. A lot of people I meet here most of the time would always tell me that, yes, I've been there. There are a lot of priests here who speak the language. I mean, our language, and Belgian, of course. They're still there, into education, of course, into evangelization and all. This will be a great opportunity for the President to recall and reminisce all of this with His Majesty King Philippe of the Belgians. And of course, with the Prime Minister Elio de Rupo, friend of the Philippines, to talk about the bilateral relations. Also, been very, very cordial, and there are 10,000 Filipinos who are here enjoying the hospitality. Of course, they are working and contributing to the Belgian society. Our nurses were here 40 years ago, and there's some if I recall the statistics, 5,000 Filipino seafarers on board ships docked in Antwerp. It's the second largest port in Europe, next to Rotterdam. There are second generation Filipinos who are here, who are studying. We have thousands of students over the years, and therefore the idea is to, for our two countries, through this visit, to think about how we can best to continue to be very good friends, and to have more trade and more investment, more academic exchanges, and more. I'd like to recall and emphasize the significance of one of the highlight of the official development assistance that Belgium extended to us in after '86, was in agrarian reform. I think 7 years of it. And I think it tells a lot about the kind of values and concern that the Belgians share with us, because this is promotion of social justice in the centerpiece of program of then President Corazon Aquino. So I think that's very important. Up to 1996, we are officially a partner, but after '96, we are no longer in the category of the formal, focus countries. Countries in the world have different focus and priorities, and because we have reached that level of development as under both the OECD standards and even under the World Bank, that we are not per se a focus country, but they continue to extend assistance through the various NGOs, and definitely the humanitarian assistance when it comes to calamities. And you mentioned Haiyan. They were among the first in the grounds, our Belgian friends. Of course, they did this under the EU umbrella, together with the Dutch and the Luxembourgers and others. But they were among the very first on the grounds. I knew it because they gave me a call and say, we have a plane landing with 40, EU team and BFAS in particular, with the water purification plant and with a hospital. There's an instant hospital that they put up. They're our best ambassadors, better than this one. I promise you that. This is where, every Belgian and the international community who are here, every time I meet them, this is what they will always say, that, how great our people are. I mean, we are very proud of them. And, they are, for example, they are the ones who work with our Belgian friends and everybody who's here, the international community. Remember that Belgium has the biggest diplomatic community, the biggest sort of civil servant because of the EU institution. There are some close to 30,000 of them. And our people work here in various capacities. As I said, there were the nurses, we had the pioneers 40 years ago. So in the hospitals, they're great. There are entrepreneurs. There could be more, but not as many as we want yet. But of course, we've been trying to do financial literacy program here, encouraging. By the way, most of them are women who come to this session. And we have a Filipino parish here. We have a Filipino priest who's stationed here. We have Filipino priests studying in Leuven. The theology is one of their, strong suite in that university. So right now, I think I can count about 50 Filipino students who are here, in all walks of life, PhD students. But I think we could do more. Yes, we're very excited and very proud that the president and his whole delegation is coming to Belgium, and of course to the European institutions. We share great values with this institution. We're trying to build ASEAN also as an integration. And I think the Philippine experience and the Philippine leadership historically should be a great messenger of what we in Southeast Asia and maybe the developing world would want to communicate to our European Union friends, Belgium in particular. And those are, how do we use friendship, how do we use our relations, not just with governments, but especially with the peoples of Europe, European Union, and the peoples of the Philippines and our region to promote really prosperity and, I must say, especially in this time and age, peace. I'm sure the president, as he said in his some of his speeches, will share the peace process that we have successfully negotiated and concluded. And again, this is a good place to rally continue support, because the European Union has been a constant supporter of our search for lasting peace in the Philippines, in particular, insofar as the peace process with our Muslim brothers and sisters. So it's a good story to tell, and hopefully to inspire these institutions as well to continue doing what they're good at. And then we will have the great privilege of meeting the president. The Filipinos, they're excited. We will be in this big cathedral, which is the center also of both the major ceremonies in this country. So in a way, I think, in a different way, is we are reliving Jose Rizal and his friends those days when they all came to Europe, those days in search for ideals, and they were able to do it here. Nowadays, we are called upon, all of us here, all the Filipinos all over the world, to do our share, to Not so much to die for our country, I think, anymore, but to live for our country by doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, to be good citizens, to be good contributors to the societies who welcome us. Same manner we do when we're at home. And